Happy Thursday and welcome to today's episode of Veeam Tech Bites, or as I like to say, Tech Bites powered by Veeam. I'm joined with Julia, Furst Morgado, JFM, as I like to say. How are you today, Julia?
I'm doing great. I'm here in Europe and it's almost getting late already for me, but I'm super excited with this.
Awesome. And that's right. Was it yesterday was the AWS event in Munich?
Yes.
Or yeah. How did that go? I mean, you
Oh,
said
it was
they take it
amazing. Yeah.
seriously. Yeah, that's
They have
awesome.
such energy. I love the community. I don't know what they do, but it was an amazing event. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those user groups in Europe, they will seriously go all day and
Yes,
it'd be so
exactly.
focused. It's fantastic. All right, so Julia's joining us from Germany. I'm in Central Ohio. Our producer, Jeffrey, also is here in Central Ohio. And our other producer, Felicia, is rocking the DFW Metroplex. But we want to know where you're from. We've got a couple glitches. I got both phones, Ricky 2 phones here, and I still can't get I couldn't pull that up, but we are live on the streams. But let us know where you're from, and we will activate the map. And we love to take a look and see where you're from. But Julia, we've got a cool topic today. And I asked you to help because I think cloud, right off the AWS event, good one, is a very common topic about mid-size organizations. And, we're going to talk about the SMB series. And so we're on this journey here. We've done 3 already. The 5 easy resiliency tips for SMB, they're available for replay on the YouTube channel here. The ABCs of KPIs for the SMBs, that's up on replay from April. The IT skills gap from June as well. And then today, what to expect when you're expecting to switch to Veeam. That's the topic today. But first, Julia, we did this last week. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do our football picks. All right. Now, Julia, I ran this to you and you're like, Rick, this is not my thing.
Yeah.
But you like World Cup football, the real football, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah, the real football, soccer, as they say in America. But I don't know anything about football, so that's why I said I only watch the World Cup. And then I cheer for Brazil or Portugal or France. But I'm all ears to understand a little bit more about football. So I am curious to know what you're gonna share.
So it's, I'm curious too, because I thought I knew football and I was 7-12-1 last week because there was a tie up in Canada. All right. So how it works here, I'm going to hit the clock here and go through my picks. I'm going to pick the New York Jets. I'm going to pick Hamilton over Toronto. I'm going to pick Saskatchewan. I'm also going to pick the Montreal team and the Winnipeg, Zach, the quarterback, rocking it over there. Over in the Sunday games, I got Cleveland, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Minnesota, and New Orleans. They are looking good. Those boys can play. That's looking awesome. I'm liking Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and on the Sunday and Monday games, I like the Raiders. I like Las Vegas, Seattle, Dallas, San Francisco, Arizona, and then on the Monday night, I like Buffalo, who is looking very, very good, as well as Cincinnati. Just in time. That's awesome. I really hope I do better than last week. I could just tell you, Julia, 7-12 is not good. It's not very good. No, no, that is not good. Felicia, one of our producers, she's on the Dallas. That's her only pick there in the DFW Metroplex. Jeff's picks, our producer, he's in on this too. He is selective on his picks, and I think he's right on basically all of those. So big thank you to those. Let us know in the stream your picks. Is there a team that you really like, especially World Cup? We're expanding it, going global. Let us know. I think that this is just kind of fun. I like it. I'm a massive American football fan and good stuff. All right, let's get back to it. So the topic today, what to expect when you're expecting to switch to Veeam. And I want to talk about the universal license. And I'm going to start with a question for you up first, Julia. Licensing isn't always a very fun thing to talk about, but with today's kind of multi-hybrid cloud, I think there's a lot of versatility.
Yeah. And it's great that now we have this Veeam Universal License VUL because if you're in the cloud, on-prem, etc., you can use just one license for everything, and you're not tied to any vendor. So I think it's great for all the companies. It's the future, and we have so many workloads, protecting workloads, and adding, yes, like you're showing on the screen, and we're adding more every time with each release. So it's a big advantage to have this Veeam Universal license.
Yeah, indeed. And I'd also say that, especially for the mid-size organization, one thing that's really important is to be consistent, standardized, and only have one backup product. Because when you start having 2 or 3 backup products at any size organization, it's just extra complexity. And when I look at this workload grid, and this isn't even all of them, it really is important. And we think about AWS workloads, we think about other cloud workloads, on-prem hypervisors. Of course, a lot of people were excited about the new one with Proxmox VE. And by the way, a lot of people are liking that. Mid-size orgs, that might really resonate well. But to your point, Julia, also we got to keep adding services in the cloud, right? There's in the last recent block, we had additional cloud and SaaS types of things.
Yeah.
One of those isn't out yet, the Enter ID. I got to catch myself there, but some of these services up in AWS, for example, those are really popular.
The latest release. They're very helpful, especially for SMBs as well. And it's great because it's cloud agnostic and hardware agnostic. So if you're multi-cloud or hybrid cloud also, you can use the same license as I mentioned before. So yeah, big advantage for all the SMB out there.
Yeah, indeed. And the one caveat I'll say is that the universal license applies to most of these workloads. It doesn't apply to Kubernetes or Microsoft 365 or Salesforce. Those are what we call platform extensions. Okay, so a small caveat there, but generally for like that bulk of the workloads, really big deal. Now, speaking of workloads, one thing that I think is really attractive to the mid-size organization is just really understanding the Veeam portfolio. There's 2 very distinct modes of consumption. It's the Veeam Data Platform, and then it's Veeam Data Cloud. And Julia, you've been with us on this journey, backup as a service for software as a service, and hosted storage. It's a very different type of a offering in the sense of, on the left we have on-prem installable software, and then on the right we have these as a service elements. But I think customers just in the end, I think they want choice. Sometimes they might want some services protected one way, full control, installable software on the other. Especially with your experience in the cloud, Julia, what's your appetite for how people want? What do you see of how people want to back up?
I've been seeing an increase with SaaS, so even BaaS now. And Veeam Data Cloud is pretty new. I was even going to tell you to maybe explain a little bit more to the audience what it is, because it's a great new addition to our portfolio.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, that's a good one. A lot of people ask me, what is Veeam Data Cloud? And
VDC.
Basically, yeah, we just call it VDC and VDP, these acronyms. You don't have to do anything. It's just the data is protected for you. So Microsoft 365 data, Microsoft Azure, and then an offsite backup storage with Veeam Data Cloud Vault. There will be more, but that is the really quick look. And I'll give you kind of a instant glance of it in the lab if I can find my lab. Oh, there it is. But basically, if you have a Veeam backup and replication server, you can right click and say, I want to add object storage and add Veeam Data Cloud Vault right away. So if you're a small or mid-sized organization and you do not have an immutable backup copy, that's a plausible emergency for your organization. And we put it right there that you can easily have a backup powered by Veeam consumed as a service. So it's really, really easy way to get that ultra resilient copy and the Microsoft 365 data protected as a service as well as Azure. And again, there will be more. All
Mhm.
right, I just got word from the producers that the map is ready. We had some very interesting tune-ins. Let's take a look at that. So we have Canada in the house. Welcome. We've got New York, Austin. So good hits there. Everyone, let us know where you're from. We're quadcasting on the 4 socials here today. Let's go over to Europe, and we've got Romania and Germany. That's also where Julia is. And then in the kind of the South America, yep, that's
Brazil.
there you go. You got somebody with your
I
World
need
Cup.
to know that.
Yeah, I love it when Brazil comes in. It's a big green
Yeah.
box there.
Mhm.
And then in the let's see, we've got Tunisia, Angola, Saudi, and India coming in, and oh, that's how you do it. Oh, that's interesting. I was wondering how you illuminate them. That's really cool. I love that our producers do. Again, let us know in the chat where you're coming in from. There we go. We got Saudi, we got India there. Really good stuff. Awesome. All right. That's tip number 1. I'm watching the clock. We got to move a little quicker here. Migration. Julia, this comes up all the time. I think a lot of organizations have like started a cloud journey, and if they
Yeah,
switch backups or maybe they didn't address backup in the cloud when workloads moving around, that's kind of tricky. I mean, what have you seen with the
definitely.
cloud when it comes to people migrating to it?
So it's very important. Sometimes it's not top of mind for people when they're migrating to the cloud. But again, security in the cloud should be the first thing that you think when you're migrating. And it's important that teams are working together as well, because we see that backup teams are not really working with the security, CISOs, etc. And then you don't have a seamlessly migration. So definitely backup should be like on your top 5 when you're thinking to migrate to the cloud.
And I'd also say that the shared responsibility models, that's actually something that honestly all the clouds actually
Yeah,
agree upon. They're all
exactly.
pretty consistent there. It makes it super clear that the data protection should be something about your strategy in the cloud. And
Yeah.
that's just one element. I mean, on-prem, we have a lot of conversations around moving workloads, and we call it here at Veeam, we call it data freedom. And data freedom is a broad mindset that I have my data under management by Veeam. I'm backing it up from here and I'm putting it here as a backup. I may need to recover it somewhere else. And a lot of people don't realize that this is technology we've had in the market since 2016 here at Veeam. And I've had several other Tech Bites episodes about converting to other hypervisors. That's a specific capability. But above all, it's data freedom. And I'll show you again in the lab a real quick little look here. So for example here, what I'm looking at is a Veeam backup and replication server. I've got a whole bunch of workloads protected. Let me, contract it a little bit. You see, I've got VMware, Windows, Linux, Hyper-V, Proxmox, all kinds of different virtual platforms. So what I can do here, this data freedom story, is I can take, and this is what I did at Veeam On. I took all 10 of these at once. And basically, these systems today started their day as VMware, and then the example I did at Veeam, they ended their day as Hyper-V. But Julia, we also have the ability to migrate to the cloud, and I think
Exactly.
a lot of people also don't realize how easy that is.
Yeah, or vice versa. If you're in on the cloud and you want to go back to on-prem, depending on costs, so you have that data freedom, and I think it's a superpower because you're not locked into one platform. You have that availability, that ability to move around easily.
Yeah, indeed. And we also have the ability to restore into
Mhm.
Nutanix and Proxmox, two additional hypervisors. Now, those two in the red box are not instant, but they are very efficient in how they do it, whereas the two up here would be instant. And then, just as the resident historian here at Veeam, we've had VMware support since the beginning, 2008, and then 2011 Hyper-V came into the fold, and I believe Nutanix was 2018, and Proxmox was 2024. So a lot of action there, but data freedom is real, and especially when you need it. And the first instance of it was going to Azure, to the cloud, and it was right about the time we had the agent, and then we added our cloud native backups. And so this data freedom story is real. The mesh can be anywhere you want, and it's really powerful, especially if you need it. But anyways, going anywhere, why you choose a backup, why you would switch to Veeam, cyber resiliency, I think, is an absolutely critical thing. And I got to give a hat tip to AWS here. They made immutability kind of a household word. And I know, Julia.
Yeah, it's become mainstream in the cloud. Definitely, I think AWS and the other ones as well. But immutability is so important. Basically, what it is no one can touch your data, encrypt it, delete it, modify it, even the root account for the period that you set. And we've seen with the ransomware trends report how many companies nowadays are victims of ransomware attack. So immutability should be, something that you definitely do on your workloads and your data.
Yeah, exactly. I showed the example of Veeam Data Cloud, easy to do it. Again, I got to give a hat tip to AWS to making it popular. And I'll jump back in the lab here to show you one other thing. I want to really recognize what our Veeam Alliances team have done. And they have made the Veeam Ready program where we have immutability as a defined attribute for some of these qualified backup storages. And so I'll ask the audience, I know there's a little bit of delay before I get the results here, but anybody want to have a guess to how many immutable backup storages there are? Because Julia, the big misconception, let us know in the chat. How many do you think there are Veeam Ready object repository qualified solutions? So Julia, a lot of people think it's just Azure, AWS,
exactly.
but it's a lot more.
And also, if I may add, we were talking about immutability. We talk about the 32110 and that additional 321. The one says your data should be immutable, so it's part of it should be part of your backup strategy.
Absolutely, and I'll go one step further. A backup that's on an immutable target is the single most effective technique to drive data recovery in a ransomware incident, period. So if you don't have it, it's a plausible emergency. All right, the number is 46. There are 46 Veeam Ready qualified immutable options today.
That's a lot.
That is definitely AWS. You would expect 1111, big service provider. Backblaze. I'm going to come back to Backblaze here in a second. Later in the show, I got a surprise there. Cloudian, Datacore, Dell ECS. So these are on-prem as well. They can be on-prem. They can be off-site in the cloud. I'll go backwards in the alphabet. We've got Zadara, A to Z. We got it all. Look at that. Wasabi. I'm going to come back to Wasabi here in a second. Vast, Oogloo. It's great. There's so many options. On-prem, low cost, high resiliency, you name it. It's available for you. So highly recommend you do that. And I should also add, if you want to add a backup storage, like when I showed just a second ago how to add the Veeam Data Cloud, the same option of adding object storage is where you do that. You just right click, add object storage.
Very easy, yeah.
Very easy.
Follow and then the wizard, yeah.
Follow the wizard road, indeed. I should also say that some of the dedupe appliances have their own immutability option, so it's not always only cloud. And I actually like mixing, like for example, ExtraGrid retention lock. We have that here in the lab in one of the other environments, and then Wasabi, for example, a really good way to get on-site, off-site ultra resiliency. All right, number 4, BCDR. Now, first of all, I think that disaster recovery, business continuity, a lot of orgs might struggle on how to do that. And, they might think I need the cloud. I mean, what kind of conversations do you have about disaster recovery, Julia, when it comes to small and mid-sized orgs?
It depends on the industry. It depends on their budget. I think it's very important. So especially with the amount of companies being hit by ransomware, even if companies with low budget should have it, it's definitely a must.
So you set me up perfectly, the low budget part
Yeah.
because a lot of orgs, especially small, mid-sized orgs, they're single site. They don't have, the secondary data center proper, paired up inventory. And I want to draw attention to a previous episode of Tech Bites that we did. And if you could, Felicia, could you push that link at this time on the platforms that are behaving? We had one little glitch in some of the platforms. A couple months ago, did an episode with Greg Talone from Cloud IBR, and this is the perfect solution for a small, mid-sized organization to really have that DR experience without having that DR investment. This works by having backups in either Wasabi or Backblaze, so object storage in a hosted environment. And then this, decision of building or buying DR is made easy. And I love, some things are best described by a meme. And, this meme up here on the top left really, in my opinion, does it really, really well. So it's the thought here of having the disaster recovery kind of output that you would want without that type of massive investment in like different server storage and things like that. So sorry, I lost my clicker, but the thought is, yes, we want to have DR built, or we want to buy it, and we can actually get the best of both worlds. So we have a video, an all demo session there at VEE.am/cloud IBR, goes right to the previous YouTube video that we did. And Julia, when we were prepping for this, I showed you kind of the hierarchy here, and I think it's just incredibly innovative to take the backups and spin them up.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I think they have trials and stuff as well. So check that out. That's a great partner kind of solution driven type of thing. All right. So we got do we have an updated map? I got a whole bunch of new entries here. Let's take a look. We got many more people coming in from Canada and Brazil. We've added Nebraska. I like Nebraska, by the way. We've added New Mexico. It's not lit up, but it's on there. We've added the Netherlands. We've added, there's Tunisia up top. We found it. There we go. And then we've added more people in Germany, more people in India. So big, and then more people over in Brazil. So again, thank you all for letting us know. We've added South Africa, a whole bunch of new ones. It's great. I think I've lost my mouse. I don't know what's going on, guys. So I can't, well, it's one thing if I can't like draw, but usually to see if I
to move to the next slide.
Well, no, I got that. Well, there we go. Ooh, yeah. Sorry, I had a little. Anyways, sorry, I had lost my mouse. I've got like 3-4 screens here going on, and I don't know where my mouse is. I have the control button supposed to illuminate when it finds it, but I lost it. So sorry about the bad driving there. All right, number 5 tip, and we're getting close here. I want to talk about monitoring, and the SMB, I think, has a challenge here that, they have a lot on their plates. And so some things you can do make your life easier, like having a service provider do the DR with the solution like we just spoke about, or maybe Veeam Data Cloud is a great way to get that offsite backup without, too much work. But monitoring everything is really a challenge. And I think that organizations don't give that enough effort. So I want to introduce you to Veeam One, which is a core part of the Veeam data platform. And what's really attractive about Veeam One is that it monitors the backups. It gives you the threat center, which is the one visual here that, shows your safeguard, how your backups and recoveries are doing, et cetera, et cetera. And I have a quote. It's kind of weird to quote myself, but
Kirsten, I like it.
Yeah, Kirsten likes it, so I keep using it. But I guarantee you that Veeam One will tell you something about your environment that you didn't know, but you need to address. And I think that's really important nowadays when it comes to visibility. When you think about just trying to answer questions, how many backups do I have? And it's also important to note that Veeam One will also report on the cloud, like the cloud backups, what's not backed up, capacity, all that kind of other stuff. So anyways, all that being said, those are my 5 tips for the SMB. Anything you'd want to add, Julia?
Not related to the slides, but I think would be very helpful to everyone that is watching to join us at the Veeam Data Resiliency Summit that is coming up. So registered because I'm sure they're going to share a lot of information that is going to help you, especially if you're in the SMB space.
Yeah, I think what we've done with our products is really mash in like enterprise capabilities with applicability to all organizations. So it's really an attractive time. VDRS, let's see. We've been working on it. It's going great. It's really good content. I also was involved in like a longer form demo of 12.2, which just came out in the update and preview of 12.3. So if you're really into like the latest with Veeam, check out VDRS. We got really 2 releases this second half of the year. Give you the latest updates there. Really excited for that. All right, next week on the Tech Bites stream, very interesting. We have IBM coming on to talk about AI threats, challenges, and opportunities. So I'm really excited for that one because that's going to be like a really intriguing, kind of compelling topic. And we in the prep we've done, I'm going to have a lot of questions because this is really, really powerful stuff. But until then, hey, Julia, thank you so much for joining me here on Tech Bites.
Of course, it's a pleasure always.
I got to get you on more. You're really good on camera, really comfortable with it, and you got all those cloud perspectives, which are really helpful. And a big thank you to both Jeffrey and Felicia, our producers. Friends, could not do it without them. And let's hope that my football picks are better next week. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week. And that concludes today's episode of Tech Bites.